everybody. So in this video, we're going to be talking about comparing decimals. Okay, so let's look. If I give you a set of decimals, which you can't see here, there you go. If I give you a set of decimals and I want you to compare these things, a lot of the times you guys want to just completely ignore the decimal and you like reading this number right here as 305, 300, 359. Okay, but you do need to pay attention to where that decimal place is. For example, $3 is very different than $300, right? That's two very different values. So pay attention to where this decimal place is. So comparing any of these numbers, don't focus on how many digits there are, okay? There could be only one digit and it could be the biggest decimal. That's okay. So don't be counting the digits thinking, "Oh, well this looks really, really big and long, it must be bigger," because that might not be true. So you're going to follow the same steps every time. You're going to line up that decimal place. So let's go ahead and line up these decimals. Okay, I'm lining up this little dot right here. Line them up. Okay, and then the very first thing that I want you to do is, so if you write this down on your piece of paper, you can use your hand and you can cover up all the decimal places. I want you to just compare the whole numbers. Okay, so let's compare these wholes because we know these wholes are much bigger than any decimal place. It's worth more. So if our wholes are different and we can compare these three decimals just by looking at the whole numbers, we don't even need to look at the decimal places. For this case, they all have the same whole. They all have 3. All right, so what we want to do now is we want to slowly reveal. So if you're using your hand or if you're using another piece of paper or something to cover up those decimal places, you're going to slowly reveal one decimal place at a time. So we're looking at the tenths here. Slowly reveal. So now we are comparing a 0, and a 5. And we know that 5 is larger. So this is automatically going to be our larger decimal. We don't even have to worry about what's behind it because 5/10 is going to be larger than any number that could go right here. So this is our largest decimal. Put that up top. Okay, so now we're comparing a 0 and 0 is the same thing. So now I have to slowly reveal one more number, one more decimal place. 5. Okay, so this 5, this 3.05 is going to be larger than this 3.00. All right, let's try it again. Same steps. Okay, line up the decimal place. So we're lining up the decimal. Now be careful, we're not lining up the digits. We're not lining up the numbers here so that there's in a straight row. We are lining up the dot, the point, the decimal. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Take whatever you're using to cover up those decimal places. Let's look at the wholes. So the left side of the decimal right now, we have a 4, and then we have a 40. This 40 is way bigger than a 4. We don't even have to worry about what the decimal place is, that 0.5. 40 is going to be our largest number. Now we're going to reveal one more number, a 0 and a 2. Our 2 is larger. We didn't even have to go to our next decimal place. And then this one's going to be our smallest number. Okay? So look at all your whole numbers first, and then one decimal place at a time. Let's do another one. All right, if we have a whole number right here, you might not see the decimal, but where does the decimal go? To the right. Okay, and then we have an infinite number of zeros here. I can add a 0. I can add another 0. I can add another 0, maybe something like this. But do not read this number as 9,000. That is not 9,000. That is just a plain old whole number 9. Okay, so same thing. Let's line up our decimal place. Okay, line up our decimal place, cover up our decimals. Let's just look at the whole numbers. We know this whole 9 is bigger than 0, so this is our largest number. Let's reveal one decimal place at a time. 9 and 9. Let's keep going. 6 and 4. So 0.96 is going to be a little bit larger than 0.94. Okay, one place at a time. What happens if it's a percentage? Now, this video, we're mostly talking about decimals, but if you do have a percentage, we've learned that some of our percentages can also be decimals, right? But our percentages out of 100, you're going to do the same thing. Line up the decimal place. Line up the decimal place. Compare your wholes. Cover up our decimal places. Compare the wholes. So we have 75, 75, and 0. 0 is going to be our smallest number. Reveal one number at a time. 5. Okay, so this 5 is going to be larger than this 0. Okay, so even if there is a percent sign, we know that percentages can also be decimals. Maybe in another video we can talk more about percentages. But same process in comparing that. If you see numbers with a decimal, comparing that. We had an assignment called rainbow decimal ordering, something like this, right? and some of you guys struggled a bit on this. So let's do these 3 examples here. All right, so we have these cards, we have these 4 numbers, and again, make sure you read these with the decimal place. You're looking at this, and some of you guys think this is 21, so this must be the smallest number. Look, these 3 cards have 3 digits, so it must be bigger. That is not always the case. Okay, we might see that here. Line up your decimal place. So I'm going to line up my dot as best as I can. Again, if you're writing this down on a piece of paper, it'll be very, very helpful. Okay, and I'm going to use this card and just cover it up. It's going to function as my hand or my piece of paper. They all have the same whole number. Okay, so that means I got to go scoot it over just a little bit to see our next decimal place. We have 2.4, 0, 1, and 0. So our 4 is going to be the largest. I'm going to put that here, followed by our 1. Okay, and now these 2 zeros, they look the same. So I'm going to scoot my card over just a little bit. I'm comparing a 5 and a 4. This 5 is bigger, and then this 4. Okay, so if you want to pause this video and try to order this, maybe you've forgotten what you put on your own activity, try that right now. Okay, and I'll do this now. We are going to line up our decimal place. Line up the decimal best as you can. We're not lining up the numbers, we're lining up the dot. You see the decimal place? I'm trying my best to line up the decimal. Cover up all the decimal places. Let's compare our holes. There are no holes over here. This is our only card that has a whole number, that 5.3. So that's our greatest. Okay, let's reveal one more number. We have a 0, 0, and a 3. So this 0.3 is going to be next. All right, and then we have, oops, a little bit off center. There you go. A 0 and a 3. This 3 comes next. And this 0.005 is our smallest. Okay, we got one more set here. Composite if you like. We are going to line up our decimal places best we can. Okay, this was a common mistake that I saw. A lot of you guys said that this 0.03 is bigger than this 0.3. Okay, I don't know why. Maybe because you notice that there are 2 digits in there, so you want to say that that one's bigger. But we're going to compare and check it out. Okay, so cover up all of our decimal places. We have a whole 13, a whole 1. 13 is going to be bigger, followed by the 1. Okay, now let's look at our decimal places. 0 and a 3. This 0.3 is larger, and then this 0.03. Okay, so when you are ordering, when you're comparing decimals, line up the decimal, compare just your whole numbers, okay, and then slowly cover up and slowly reveal each place value to see which one is bigger. See ya.